Hello, welcome to Should I Buy This Game, featuring Sea Salt and Paper. My name is Christine, and in this video I'm going to give you a brief description on how the game is played, and then share a few things I might like or dislike about the game to help you decide if you want to add Sea Salt and Paper to your collection. This is the card game, Sea Salt and Paper. And I'm just going to show you a couple hands, and then I'll go into what you're trying to get when you're picking your cards. So first off, you start with your deck and 2 cards face up in the discard piles. Each player doesn't start with any cards. So on your turn, you take 2 cards, and then you get rid of 1 card. This card here, you're trying to get multiples of, and this one, you get points for each anchor you have. So I'm going to keep the octopus and get rid of this one. And I'm going to put it here in hopes if my partner doesn't cover the octopus, I can grab that one later. So my partner will take 2 cards. And they have the penguin, and they're looking for a duo. So they're going to get rid of the penguin, and just because they're very nice and I can show you what happens, I'm going to put this one here. So when you pick from the deck, you always have to pick 2 cards and discard 1. However, you can pick from the discard pile. So you can be like, I'm going to take this octopus and put it into my hand. And your hand is hidden from your opponent. I'm just showing it like this so you can see. So there is an open discard pile, so the next card will have to go here. So my opponent will take 2 cards, and here they've made a duo. So they would play these cards, take them out of their hand, and place them in front of them. This would be discarded. Now, because of this, though, it has this symbol, and that means that you can take another turn. So they get to take 2 cards again, and decide if they're going to look for a duo or start collecting shells. So they're going to look for the duo and put this one onto the discard pile. And that is how the game is played. You take 2 cards and discard 1, or you can take a card from the discard pile to play into your hand. And it's only the duo cards that you will place in front of you. All your other cards, such as over here, the octopus cards, will keep hidden from the other players, and they don't know what's in your hand. So now I'm just going to talk about what you're trying to accomplish in the game. These 4 sets of cards are called duos, and you're looking for the matching. So here we have 2 crabs, 2 fish, 2 boats, and a swimmer and a shark. You can see by the images there. And these are the cards you would place right away. And when you do, you get different bonuses when they get placed, such as taking the top card from the deck, or going again, choosing a card from a discard pile, or even stealing a card from your other opponent. So these cards get placed right away, and they are worth 1 point per set of 2 cards. There are also these bonus cards, and what this is you would get 1 point for every fish. So here you would have 2 fish, you would get 2 extra points. And this is 1 for each of the boats. And here you would get 2 additional points for having 2 boats in your hand. Next, we have sets of cards. So as I showed you earlier, the octopus or octopi, it goes up by how many cards. So if you have 1 card, it's 0, 2 is 3 points, 3 cards is 6 points, 4 cards is 9 points, and all 5 is 12 points. And so you're collecting these cards that all have the octopus on them, and the more you have, the more points you get. It's the same with the shells, except here we have 6 cards you can collect in total. Up here, there's penguins, and there's only 3 penguin cards, and they're worth 1, 3, and 5. And then here we have the anchor cards. There's only 2 of those. And for the penguins, it's the same idea. So for every penguin card you have, you get 2 additional points if you had this card. And then for every anchor card you have, you get 3 additional points if you had these working together. And finally, we have the mermaid cards. And the mermaid lets you score a point for the color you have the most in your hand. So they're all different, like the dark blue, black, gray, green, light blue, and yellow. There's some orange, there's pink. So whatever card you have the most colors of, you will receive an additional point. If you have 2 mermaid cards, you will count your color bonus for your first, like your top number, as well as your second number. You don't give 2 points per one color. You're counting 2 different colors. If you have 3, you would count 3 different colors. And if you have all 4 mermaid cards, you automatically win the game. And they suggest playing around to at least 7 points or higher. And then depending on the player count, you're trying to get either like 30, 35, or 40 points, depending how many people are playing the game. There is also an expansion called Extra Salt. So I'm going to show you what you get in the Extra Salt. So first off, you get these starfish cards, and these work with the duo cards. So if you have a starfish card in your hand and you would have a duo in your hand, you could play them together. And the starfish card gives you plus 2 points. So instead of being worth 1 point, it is now worth 3 points. But the starfish card you would no longer do the extra bonus. Your extra bonus is getting plus 2 points. So first off, that's the starfish card. Now you cannot add a starfish card to something you've already put down. You have to put all 3 cards down at the same time. And you get 3 cards in the extra. The other thing is there are 2 new jellyfish cards, and these work with the swimmers. So you would play the jellyfish card and the swimmer at the same time, and then it has a special effect that would affect your opponent. There's also a new lobster card, and the lobster works with the crabs, so you would match up a lobster to any of the crabs, and this allows you to take 5 cards off the top deck and then keep 1, but you get to see 5 cards and choose the one you want and then put the other 4 back randomly into the deck. And this, though, would place down as a duo and be worth 1 point. There's this new crab bonus card. So it works the same as these cards, where you would score 1 point for every crab card you had in your hand. And the last card is the seahorse. And this card works with these sets. And so it's a wild card. If you had it in your octopus set and you're missing an octopus, it would be an octopus, or you could be a shell, or it could be a penguin. So it works in these collecting sets and fills in a card you may not have. And that is what comes in the Extra Salt expansion. Overall, we really enjoyed playing Sea Salt and Paper. And first off, I'm just going to mention the art. It's all origami paper, and I'm a big paper arts person, so I really appreciate the origami and then the photography with the art. I think the cards look amazing. I really love the clean, crisp colors they've used as well. Next up, I really like the variation of scoring. So you have your duo cards, you have your set collections, and then the mermaids add in there. And so it's really makes it interesting because your opponents only see your duo cards you placed. So they have no idea what is in your hand. And so it can be really great with all of one set collection, or who knows, maybe you only have 1 of each card. So it makes it interesting trying to figure out and watching what they're picking up, what their scoring may be. And then the last thing I want to mention is I really like the Extra Salt cards. They really add more points with like the little starfish cards. I get the starfish and the seahorse mixed up all the time. So the starfish gives you 2 extra points. The lobster's ability of searching the deck, and then the seahorse, wherever here's the seahorse, really adds, especially if you're into the set collecting. And now the only thing we found would be our little negative would be when I played 2 players, it said once you get to 7, you can stop and score. And at 2 players, we found that by the time you have 7 points, you don't really have much of a hand. So we had decided that we would keep playing until we had a better hand and then stop and score the game. However, then when we moved to 3 players, we realized that you don't really get that really great hand because you're going to run out of cards. And if you run out of cards, nobody scores. So we had to stop playing earlier. And there's two ways you can stop the card. You can just say like stop and last chance, and it has different scoring methods. But we just basically give people warnings saying, on my next turn, I'm going to stop. So you might want to get the cards you want, because that's just the nice people we are. But you can read about it if you get the game. There's two different ways to stop the game. But overall, we really enjoyed it. We've played it multiple times. And it's a really easy card game to pull out and play a quick game when you have some time. So let me know in the comments if you've played Sea Salt and Paper, if you have the extra salt expansion, and what you think of the game.